This meeting is being recorded.
This meeting is being recorded, you heard there. Hello, everybody. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome back if you have just joined us from this morning's session as well. This is the second and final session of our morning today of the Retail Bulletin. This one leveraging successful omni-channel selling across channels. And I'm going to talk to you all about that in a second. Once I've introduced these people, you'll know from the Retail Bulletin webinars that we love you to get involved. So do please use the Q&A button or the chat function if you prefer to get a question to the panel. It might be a general question, or it could be a specific panelist that you want to pick on and put under pressure with a burning topic that you want answered. Don't forget as well to check out the Retail Bulletin website. We've got some live events coming up later this year. Live, real events, people in 3D that you can rub shoulders with and mingle with. So on the 21st of September, there's the HR live event. That's going to be in London. I'm going to pop along to that at lunchtime, so it'd be good to meet some of you in person there. They didn't ask me to present that one, but I'm not going to be offended about it. And then at the two-day live event in November, the 8th and 9th of November, a two-day proper conference with a Tuesday evening shindig, where we can get together and have a glass of something lovely and talk and network and all be at one, which is going to be so exciting. So yeah, the 8th and 9th of November, we have a two-day live. So please do look at the Retail Bulletin website for that. And then we're going to wrap up part 3 of what we're doing right now with an Omnichannel part 3 webinar on the 16th of November, and that's back to virtual. So 2 more lives and 1 more virtual to wrap up the Retail Bulletin calendar this year. All information on the Retail Bulletin website. Let's meet these lovely people with us right now. So hopefully the voice you'll be hearing the least is mine, and the voices you'll be hearing the most is theirs. I'm going to start with you, Callum, first of all. Welcome back. You've been a great supporter of the Retail Bulletin over the years. Tell us about you.
Thanks, Darren. Hey, everybody. So I'm Callum. I'm the CEO of Linnworks. Linnworks is a commerce operation platform that empowers brands and retailers to grow their revenues and marketplaces, to automate their selling operations, to be in control of their business centrally. So hopefully you've come across us before, but if you've not, we are UK headquartered. We've got teams across Europe and across North America. So excited to be here today. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, welcome back, sir. And thanks to you and Linnworks, as always, for supporting the Retail Bulletin. You are very important to us, as are all of our sponsors. So thank you. Dee, let's hear from you. How are you doing, sir?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is G. I am co-founder of The Latest, a platform that helps brands to launch their product without risk, cost-effective, and to a huge community. Since we're reaching monthly around about 5 million people, we do have a store in Berlin. We have the social media part, and we also have the web shop part. So when a brand launches The Latest, they reach not only the physical community, but also the digital community.
And your physical store, you just got the one in Berlin, or is there somewhere else as well?
We have 2 at the moment. We have one in Berlin, and we have a pop-up store in Munich.
Okay, good to know. Okay, well, welcome, sir. Welcome to the panel, and look forward to hearing from you shortly as well. Carolina, I'm going to come to you, if I may, in a very warm Madrid. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you, Darren. Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me and having me here today. I work in Sigma Alimentos, which is one of the biggest food multinationals. And they launched a new plant-based business unit, and I'm responsible for sales and marketing in Europe. And we're launching a new global brand called Better Balance. And very soon, I hope you can find it in your country. We have started in Spain, and we're launching in Germany this year too. And next year, we're planning to launch in other markets like the UK, Italy, France. So hopefully you will find us soon.
Excellent. And obviously the plant-based explosion is happening across the globe as well, and certainly has taken hold here in the UK. So look forward to hearing more about that. And you're so welcome to the panel today as well. Last but not least, Harpreet, tell us about you. How are you doing, sir?
Not too bad, and good morning, everyone. So I am Harpreet, Head of Workplace Services for Sodexo across the UK and Ireland. So a bit about Sodexo, if you don't know us, we've got about 400,000 employees globally, and we provide sort of catering, facilities management, employee benefits, and and personal home services to about 100 million consumers every single day. And our focus is really about driving that omni-channel experience. So it's really starting off with the everyday. So thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you. Thank you for being here. So that's our panel. That's our lineup for the next 50 minutes or so. It's so good to have you all here. And I'm looking forward to some great content, no pressure. Reminder, audience, this is your webinar as well, so get what you want from it as well. So do use those Q&A or chat buttons. And as your moderator, I make a promise to you that every question that you ask will be answered. So let's crack on. Callum, I'm going to come to you first, if I may, and talk about a multi-channel strategy. Why are they so relevant? And what trends are you seeing amongst your customers at Linnworks?
I think multi-channel is just super important and increasingly important. And I think if you're going to step back and look at the fundamentals of consumer behavior and what's changing the world around us, I think the driving force of the commerce markets right now is around convenience. Like, all of us expect to be able to discover product, purchase product, have it shipped to us, returned. It's kind of like all in our terms. So convenience being that driving force in the market, therefore requires brands and retailers to have a multi-channel strategy so that they are going to the places where their customers are choosing to shop, discover products, spend time. And so with convenience being the driving force, brands and retailers need to figure out, how do we make it convenient for our customers to engage with our brand at the different touch points where they're choosing to spend time, rather than just expecting customers to show up in our store or on our site. Actually, we need to think about where are our customers, how do we go to them? And so I think that's the basis of a multi-channel strategy. And so in terms of what we're seeing from amongst our customers, really, it's just deep investment into this area. Firstly, we see more businesses actually investing in developing the core strategy, like which channels are they going to be on and why, rather than just kind of having a bit of a spray and pray approach. So getting clear, like, where do we actually want to be selling? We understand that being multi-channel is important, therefore we need to have a clear design as to our multi-channel approach. So they're investing in the strategy, they're investing in the operational backbone in their business to facilitate a highly efficient multi-channel organization. So anyone who's run a multi-channel business before will know that if you've not sort of synced things up with your technology, it can turn into a complete mess and you can deliver a terrible end customer experience. So they're investing in operations, and then they're investing into the people as well. We see our customers investing into making sure they've got two things. Firstly, people who are proficient in multi-channel strategies. So they actually are multi-channel strategy and operations, operating a multi-channel business. So they're proficient, they actually have the technical skill sets. So there's a lot of demand around that as well. Folks who can come in and think about customer convenience and how they're going to get the customer, the multi-channel strategy correct. So proficiency, and then also the culture of the team. A team, again, that is centered on understanding customer convenience, making sure that the experience for the customer is very strong across every part of the buying journey. What I'd say about multi-channel strategy, just to add in general, and a multi-channel approach, is multi-channel doesn't just mean where you sell. It's how you fulfill and deliver for your customer across every touch point with them. So it's how you do customer service with them. It's how you ship product to them. Everything is becoming increasingly multi-channel.
Yeah, it is. And I think sometimes the words multi-channel are bandied around, and retailers don't quite know how to get their arms around it as well. So it's a really important point. I mean, are you seeing retailers understand the importance of it, or are you still seeing where retailers have some sort of, I guess, blind spots or gaps around it and aren't realizing that they're not fully rounded, if you like, in terms of the approach?
I would say that so there's been a very stark change in the last 2 years. So I think what we are seeing is brands, retailers, they're seeing that marketplaces, for example, are capturing so much share of e-commerce volumes, or equally, if they've got a bricks and mortar store, if that volume has been challenged or footfall into the store, they're having to figure out, well, how do we do things online? And so I think definitely, like we've never seen before, we are seeing organizations of all sizes saying we need to figure out how to be in all of these different environments. And what's been interesting, I think, in particular to observe is around marketplaces, whereas marketplaces were historically maybe considered as kind of lower cost goods or could kind of erode brand value. What we're seeing is more and more major brands, retailers taking marketplaces seriously, because they recognize that marketplaces are capturing more and more of the wallet, essentially, and therefore they have to have a methodology and approach to play with these platforms. They can't just write them off.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for kicking off the webinar in such style, and take a break, and I'll come back to you shortly as well. Dee, let's talk about product and getting product in front of the customer, however they choose to shop with us. What should be considered when launching a product, and how do you find the best trading partners for it?
Yeah, it's a really good question. We in the last year, we have launched over 380 products for more than 120 brands. And we work with startups, but we also work with major brands like Microsoft or even like Fisk Automotive, bringing in cars to Europe. And we see it always depends what is the target of the brand, like big brands, what we saw in the last few months, they said they are getting out of the retail because the retailer are not able to explain the product anymore. There are too few people on the sales floor, and you have your product surrounded of similar products. And they are looking for a different experience for the customer. They're looking for a kind of D2C approach without having to invest their money by building their own stores. So with this kind of brands, we see that the most important things to deliver then exactly this unique experience for the brand and for the customer. They are not focused on selling products because they do have a huge platform. They sell their products throughout many different platforms, but on the retail where people and products are coming together, they're looking exactly for the best customer experience. So if the retailer at the moment is not able anymore to give this experience for the customers, there are brands, they say, I prefer to put my products somewhere else instead of bringing to those big chains because they're not able anymore to explain the added value of the product and give the customer best experience. For startups, they are looking for awareness. They are looking for reach to make people understand, hey, or just say, hello, I am here, see my product. And the biggest problem for the startups is, how can I compete against the big brands? So they are at the same time, at this point, they're looking for the same big brands and startups. They're looking for a place where the product is seen and people understand the added value. But for startups, the biggest problem they have when going to retail are the barriers. For example, they need to pay the marketing fund, development funds. They need to pay, they need to produce a lot of products to be placed in different retailers, and they do not have the money sometimes to produce as many products as the retailers are asking for. And at the end, are they getting what they're looking for? Are they getting the attention? Are they getting this awareness? So for startups, most startups, they're looking for awareness, a very easy market entry without high barriers so they can present the products. And as I said, similar to the big brands, they're looking at the end also for people that are able to explain the product and tell what is the added value.
Got it. And am I hearing there as well that in your earlier point that customers are going to kind of vote elsewhere if they feel they can get the rounded experience with everything explained of a new product as well as being to access it?
Yeah, it's correct. Like when you're talking about the B2B customer, they're looking for the experience. They want to have the product not surrounded of similar products. They want to have something special. When we are talking about the customer that's going to buy the product, they can go buy the product anywhere else. Like Callum said, you have a lot of marketplace selling products. The offer is huge outside our online. And me as a retailer with a physical touch point, there is only one thing that can differentiate myself from the online retail. It is experience. It is bringing people with the product together and giving those people the chance to experience the product as they would do on the day by day. So I cannot try to compete with the online channel because I do not have the same range of products. I do not have the same space they have. I do not have the availability they have. But what I have are experienced experts on the floor that talk with the customer, give them the chance to experience these products. And this is the reason why they come to the store, to experience and touch things and see what is added value of the products.
And thank you, sir. Yeah, I mean, I'm still a fan of going to shops, but maybe that's just the retailer in me. But yeah, certainly for me, that physical interaction is still really important. Thank you, sir. Thank you, audience. So far, we're actually growing in audience numbers since we started the webinar. So where were you at the beginning? But I'm glad you're here now. Don't forget, if you have just joined us, you can use the Q&A buttons to ask our audience anything you like, or the chat function if you prefer. And I'll make sure any question that gets asked gets answered. We're going to go to Madrid now. Carolina, you've been sat there very patiently waiting. How are you doing? In FMCG, how do you implement an omni strategy? How do you use the different channels? What's the role of each channel? There's about 3 questions in one there.
Yeah, many questions. I'll try to answer to all of them. Let me explain a little bit of my background. The previous company I was working for, it was Havaianas, which is in the fashion industry. So when I used to talk about omnichannel, it was, online, offline, retail, D2C, third parties. Now I come to the food industry, launching a new brand in a new category, which is plant-based, and the multi-channel approach is different. So now multi-channel means many more things. It's not just online and offline and the retailers' websites and the retail stores and supermarkets, but it's also the B2B, the chefs and restaurants and food service, which is another channel. So when I talk about omni-channel or by our omni-channel approach, we mean talking to chefs and restaurants in different platforms. We can sell the product online, but also the physical experience is very important because they need to try the product and cook the product, and they need a lot of training because it's a new product category. So that's an amazing experience. It's been an amazing experience meeting a lot of chefs and see how they cook the product. And now we try to take that content and use it online for other chefs and also to end consumers. And then when we're launching now the product, we are now in food service and we're launching the product into retail. So that's a different landscape, right? So we have the supermarkets, we have the big volumes come from the physical stores, but it's true that the online channels are gaining more and more, especially in the food industry. So it's true during the COVID and the confinement, it went up because we couldn't get our food from the store. So the online sales, but it's true they have gone down and now they live. In some retailers, the online sales in the food industry, it can go up to 10%, but usually for brands like us, the online sales, the D2C represent very, very small percentage because usually people like us, we go to the regular supermarket to buy our grocery. So the D2C has a different role in the food industry. When I was in the fashion industry, all fashion brands were trying to go to D2C to have a direct contact with the consumers, to have the sales coming from the D2C channels. Now in the food industry, it's not so much about sales, it's more about having a direct contact with the consumer and getting to know them better. So that's how we use the different channels to bring volume and to get to know our consumers, to see how we can improve the experience in other channels. So that's all all the channels that I'm working on now, which is quite a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's sometimes, do you find that sometimes your attention can get distracted easily between the channels? Do you find yourself spending more time on one particular area? How does that work?
Well, that's a good question. The attention and the priority goes to the channel that gives you more volume of sales, right? Which is retail and the supermarkets. It's more than 90% of the sales are going to come through that channel. But what we try to do is to have an omni-channel approach, like everything we're doing, for example, in food service. How can I get consumers feedback to improve my product and experience, maybe in retail? So we get all the learnings from different channels and we're trying to leverage that in all the channels. So everything we do now with chefs in restaurants, we try to create content for online channels so people get to know us, like Dan was explaining before, to gain brand awareness and then drive that traffic to the supermarket. So that's the omni-channel approach we're trying to give, even if the sales are coming mainly through the supermarkets.
Got it. Thanks, Carolina. That's really helpful, and we'll come back to you shortly. Take a break. Harpreet, you've been very patient. It's always someone's always got to go last, so apologies you've been waiting so long. Harpreet, the word frictionless gets bandied around in retail quite a lot. Friction, reward, frictionless. And I want to try and think about the purchase experience. And so providing customers with that word, frictionless purchase experience, how do you start to create that frictionless experience, and what should retailers be doing to try and prioritize that?
Thank you. And I think it's a really interesting topic, because I think if just even us on the call today try to define what our frictionless experience looks like, we probably end up with 5 or so different answers. I think the first thing that any good retailer needs to have is data and insights. Really starting to understand what your customers want. How do they want to shop? Is it online? Is it physical? Or is it a blend? And then when you start to look at their actual journey, so we do a lot of work around customer journey mapping, and that's not just about the experience that they have in our environments, but from the point that they wake up in the morning, what's driving their behavior, what is leading up to that actual physical purchase, and where can we sort of intervene, nudge along that journey, and how can we start to really help them along some of those pain points? Because if we're solving a pain point for a consumer, they're more likely to purchase. So when we start looking at that physical purchase experience and create that frictionless element, it needs to be simple. It needs to be easy. Let's be honest, humans are lazy, so that you can make it for them, even though it may sometimes cost more. And I'm sure you've all been in that situation. If it's one place to go to, it's fine. It's a couple of percent more. I'm more likely to use it. So I think it's really understanding what that current purchase behavior or experience looks like, benchmarking it against obviously other retailers, other competitors, but then also starting to look out into the wider marketplace. So, whilst we sell a lot of food and drink, we look at some of the best practice, even in sort of cars and showrooms. What is that experience for a consumer? And trying to bring those sort of nuggets of value to our level as well.
I think there's a real point there around that simple and easy part, though, right? Because people just want to do it. And I think if there's this is why the frictionless word is banded around a lot. If there is any bump in the road or something that makes it look more difficult, people just exit, right?
Yeah, I think we've all seen that, whether we're using some of the Shopify stores that I'm sure we all used during COVID, you get to that certain checkout experience, and it asks to fill in all the details, go through another sense check. Can you create an account? It's like, I just want to buy something, and that's as simple as it is. We've seen a lot of innovation. Shopify is a great example where retailers can very easily set up a store and focus on that experience with almost that one click and out. We've seen that with Amazon, we've seen it in other areas without creating a profile and linking in. So I think it's around understanding that market that you're going for and how they like to pay, really. Whether it's through Apple, Google, WhatsApp, Weibo, all those elements, you've got to give that consumer choice. And I don't think you're ever going to find a one solution fits all. You need to almost get that portfolio approach of these are the building blocks that come together.
Yeah, I guess if a customer's finding it hard to spend money with a retailer, there's something very wrong, right?
Completely.
And ultimately, they'll say, my money is so hard earned, I'm going to go and spend it with someone else that makes my life easier. Harpreet, thank you for that. I'll come back to you very shortly. Audience, remember that you are free and welcome to ask as many questions as you like, so please do so. No one asked a question on the last webinar, so sometimes we do just have a very engaged audience that sit there quietly and prefer to watch rather than get involved. Both of those audiences are very welcome, but do remember you can if you want to. Callum, I'm going to come back to you. We're talking about successful omnichannel selling as the overall title of this webinar. How do you manage operations and be successful in selling all at the same time across multiple channels?
Yeah, I think those two things are very closely linked. I think in order to be successful in multi-channel selling, you've got to have a great operational backbone. So I think, look, success ultimately comes through, I think, a really good strategy. As I mentioned that in the kind of previous, I guess, discussion we had. So I think having a clear strategy means that you can win consistently, but then getting the right operational infrastructure in your business is key. Naturally, obviously, I'm from Linnworks, a platform like Linnworks, but a platform that's ultimately going to allow you to control everything centrally. So you want to be able to essentially take your platform, take your product, so your inventory, your product catalog, your order management. You want to be able to centralize that and basically connect that to your selling channels so that you can grow revenues, i.e. you can connect with your customers wherever they're choosing to shop from one platform. You can automate your processes, so all the workflows associated with selling to those customers and then fulfilling orders for those customers. You can automate all of that such that your cost base is reduced and you've got scalable economics. And then ultimately so that you can be in control. By doing it all centrally, you're in control of your business. You can then deploy capital with confidence into your business. So I think you've got the right strategy, and then if you've got the operational backbone, it's going to help you grow, automate, be in control. And that's ultimately the way to both achieving success in the near term, but also achieving success consistently. Because the reality is that consumer behavior changes. They move into different environments. They've got different expectations around what a product experience should look like, or a kind of service experience should look like. So ultimately getting the infrastructure in place that allows you to be agile, to move quickly with the market is key. And of course, that's what we're committed to doing for our customers at Linnworks. It's
that foundation, isn't it? Like, you can have all of the best strategic intent in the world, but if you don't have a solid platform on which to build it, then we
work with so many businesses that have fantastic people who have then come to us, and as they work with us, they're like, we've hit breaking point. Like, we have growth happening in all of these different channels, for example, but we simply cannot scale it anymore. Like, as in, we've kind of started and quite early on just hit this glass ceiling because we can't be in lots of different places at the same time. It simply doesn't work with how we manage inventory, or how we're managing our orders and our fulfillment, or how we think about our product catalog. So you can have all the strategy and intent in the world, and that's crucial. But if you don't couple that with really good operational infrastructure, then you don't get very far.
No, good point. Thank you, sir. And yeah, that kind of underlining that importance of strategy, people, all of that's wonderful, but you need the platform and the operation to build it on in the first place. Thank you. Dee, I'm going to come on to you and really talk about leveraging the features and benefits of channels and being holistic with a product strategy. And what could that look like for a retailer in terms of presentation of store, social media, web shop? How do you bring all that together?
Yeah, I think first of all, you need to understand and find out what are the right channels for you as a brand. So I'm just going to give an example. We do not have an app, because in an app, we couldn't give any added value for the customer that the customer already finds on our website. So we decided to do not invest in an app, do not spend money on an app, because it's not what you use 5 apps per day at maximum. You don't need to have like an app for everything. So as for us as the latest, we said the right channels for us are the store, the web shop, and social media. We also do not have any kind of digital solutions inside of the store, like terminals, multi-channel terminals, these kind of things, because the store, the focus is giving customers a chance to experience the products and do not start tipping on screens and using screens on the store. It's about spending time with the products, about having people and product together. We are brand ambassadors in the store. So this was this very clear strategy for us. What we cannot do online, we do in the store. And this is really this personal contact, bringing people together that are looking for the same thing, that are like to interact with each other. You having events around the year, like the store is the point of experience, it's not the point of sales. And this is the strategy you have. And the second thing is, when we're going online, I know that I cannot compete with other websites like Amazon and these kind of things, but what I can do different than they do, I don't need to have the technical data like you find it anywhere else. I can write the story behind the product, can write the story behind the brand. What's the reason why this brand has created a product? Because everyone creates a product to fulfill a need, because they have a goal. And this kind of information you do not find when you're searching for the product online. And if you just search for a product, you find technical data anywhere, you find videos, thousands of pictures, but certain information you do not find. And this is what we said, we are going online and we are presenting this kind of data because we know our community are looking for this. And people nowadays, they're much more interested to know what is the footprint of the product. What is this product? How is this product maybe changing the world? What is coming from? Where is the product produced? They're not asking about the resolution of the display, for example. So this is something that we are giving the customers online, and we believe is a very strong added value. And on social media is a very singular channel. You need to understand what people are looking for and not try to give them something they're not looking for. And this is something that I believe retailers are quite the mistake outside when you're looking to the social channels of retailers. They're presenting their services, they're presenting their products, their offers, but this is not the kind of thing that people are looking social media. Social media, they're looking for nice videos that they're just swapping, and like they go to social media to spend a little bit of time because they do not want to do something that they should be doing at the moment. So you need to give them this kind of content instead of trying to sell them things. Social media is just the awareness part. So do a nice video presenting a product, how people is, for example, if you have an e-bike, show how they are doing like a downhill with this e-bike or driving around. If you have a computer, present how the people are using the computer the best way, or in a nice video and a funny video, but do not try to give them the kind of content they're not looking for. And we were quite good, or we have done this in a very good way. Last year, August, we had 4,000 followers, and by February this year, we had 40,000 followers. You know, like it was a huge growth because we understood. We stopped trying to give them content and say, okay, let's see what they're looking for and give the content that they're looking for. So the social media place is not a place where we sell the products. It's just a place where we engage with people, create awareness for the brands and for the latest. And sometimes we also even talk about topics that are not related with the latest, because people are just getting online to get information, to see nice things. So as a retailer, you need to understand how to deal with each one of the channels and what are the right channels for you. And maybe for somebody else is the app the right channel, or Instagram and TikTok, or is TikTok and not Instagram. You just need to understand what are the right channels for you.
Yeah, the Amazon reference is interesting as well, because like Amazon are formidable when it comes to convenience and ease and all of that things that customer loves, but they can be beaten on experience, no doubt about it. And I think that's a real opportunity for retailers to accept that Amazon excel in certain areas. And I'm a guilty Amazon shopper. I sometimes just do it because purely I just need the convenience I need tomorrow. But I do think retailers can absolutely win on experience, and that's a real area to drill down on as well.
Sure.
Thank you, Dee. I'm going to come back to you shortly. Carolina, hello again. In the food industry, the direct consumer piece represents an opportunity, but also a challenge. How do you face that head on?
Yeah, like I was saying before, the D2C in grocery, in the food industry, I think it has a different meaning. And what we're using the D2C channels for is to have a direct contact with the consumers and to learn from them. We say in Better Balance that we are a brand, our products are born from the consumer. So we have listened to the consumers, and we have created a product that they like. And how we validate and test those products is with D2C channels. So we have two channels. We have a virtual restaurant, a dark kitchen, and we also have an e-commerce just available in some cities where we ship the product and we test the product cooked with the virtual kitchen. And we also test the product, the raw product, so people cook it at home. So we get feedback from the consumers. And based on that feedback, we rework on the product and then validate again on those D2C channels. And when we know the product is 100% good, we launch it in food service. We have the feedback again from the consumer, and then we launch it. We go to retail when we know we have a perfect product. So the D2C channels for us are very good way to validate our products and our services. And that's how we use them. And it's been very successful right now. When we ship the product, we put a QR code with a contest so people can scan the QR code and give their opinion. And when we receive the feedback about, that the product is being late or is cold, then we know that the product is fine, that there's nothing else we need to fix on the product. And we have very good learnings that we use when we enter a channel. For example, with the virtual kitchen, we know how we need, for example, to name the products in a menu. Or for example, in the e-commerce, when we ship the product that you have to cook at home with the raw product, we get a lot of learnings. The people are asking us of instructions of how to cook the product at home because they don't know. So what we're doing now in the packaging and everywhere is to put a QR code or recipes in our website so people know how to cook. We're also shooting videos with chefs explaining how to cook the product. So people can go to the website.
Where's the QR code? On the packaging or on the website?
On the packaging. So
on the packaging, which takes them. Okay, right.
Exactly.
Okay, and is that called out quite clearly on the packaging so customers know what it's there for and scan this and it will take you there, kind of thing? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. So you know that there's going to be a questionnaire, so you can answer questions about what you think about the product, and we have it on the product, on the packaging, and also on the delivery, on the virtual restaurant. We include a flyer. We include a where you can scan the QR code. Yeah, and on the packaging is there. Yeah.
Good work. Good tip for our audience there as well. Thank you, Carolina. We'll come back to you shortly as well. I'm going to come on to you again, Harpreet, if I may. We've been talking about marketplaces, actually. This has been mentioned actually in both webinars today. The problem with the marketplace is, how do you ensure consistent delivery so that you get that larger audience, but you don't lose the experience?
I think so. It's one that we've been grappling with for a number of years, actually. I think especially as technology has evolved, and I think we've all become very technology obsessed and focused and think that it can solve all our problems and allow us to reach a wider market. It's key, don't get me wrong, to have that strong infrastructure in the strategy, as Callum mentioned, but as you start to scale your model, the biggest thing that people forget about is people. Your people that are currently delivering that solution day in, day out. Are you thinking about the training, the tools that they need to deliver that experience successfully? Or are you just expecting someone that was, one day doing one job to suddenly become a digital expert the next day and be able to use that technology and that infrastructure overnight? So I think there's elements around capabilities as well of people. So, one, you've got to give everyone the tools to succeed. Sometimes you need to rethink the capabilities that now sit within your organization in order to scale. So rather than just getting more of one person, if you actually really looked at those roles, the responsibilities, what those individuals need to do. We're seeing a lot more around data analysts, data scientists, especially I think in all industries, when previously we used to think that was more tech focused. So if you've got those sorts of things, as you start to get bigger and better, hopefully, it allows you to scale even quicker. And rather than just looking at, I'm sure we've all been there looking at reams of data, whether it's on Excels or social media uptakes and reach, and you kind of have no idea what it means. So rather than looking at data, what platforms or tools or people do you have that can drive insights? So actionable insights that will either scale up and help you perform better, whether it's on sales, conversion, margin, or even around your capabilities of your people. So I think that's one thing that I always say, which is don't forget about the people that are actually delivering your strategy and your vision on the front line.
How do you choose the marketplace? So how do you kind of identify which is the most brand aligned marketplace to work with if you're a small retailer?
I think that's a challenge, really. It's obviously doing your research, so market research, reams of information out there. I think when you look at some of the data analysts, Kantar, really understand your market, understand your people in terms of customers, where they currently go to purchase, and then make sure you're sort of front and visible in those areas. I think, as we said, there's a number of different solutions, whether it's Amazon, Shopify, etc., or even bricks and mortar as well. So look at your product and align that to your consumer needs. And again, if you're having difficulty in trying to find that market research, you can run focus groups, which are quite low cost for the value that you'll get out of them. And there's a number of other solutions where you can get national demographic sort of insights, again, at a one-off perspective as well. So you really can't undervalue that element of market research, I would say.
Okay, good tips there. So great, compelling content for our audience out there if you are considering a marketplace to help you extend your reach, so to speak. Thank you for that, Harpreet, very much. Audience, you're very quiet, but you're still with us. That's a good thing. So clearly you're enjoying the content. We are moving into kind of the final 10 minutes of this webinar. It's flying by, or nearly 45 minutes already together. So panelists, just to give you a heads up, I'm going to be asking you for some closing golden nuggets of advice or closing words, things you want to leave our audience with. So have a little bit of a think about that. And audience, you do have a last minute call if you do want to get any last minute Q&A in for any of the panelists. Callum, over to you then. So from yourself and from the point of view of Linnworks, our sponsor as well, send us off with some closing words or thoughts on this subject today.
Lots of thoughts around it. Look, I think as we look to the future, I think the kind of winners in the new world of commerce are going to be those that really understand this idea of like the effortless economy, like the idea that consumers expect convenience, and therefore they organize their business around that fundamental force in the market. So I think that's really important as an upfront point to consider. And then from there, in that context, I think, you know, the winners are going to be those that therefore recognize that, build a strategy around it, and consider their operations and their people really well. Getting that operational infrastructure into your business is key if you want to win in the new world of commerce. And I think something I just alluded to in my last comments were, I think it's the world that we're in and we're increasingly moving into, it is increasingly dynamic. And so having the ability to move fast as an organization is going to be part of what's going to give you that competitive advantage. I think, you know, one of the comments earlier was around data. I think that's crucial. Being able to make well-informed decisions through data, but then ultimately having the infrastructure in place in your business to move fast, to capture new growth opportunities, and to adjust how you serve your customers. So headline is the effortless economy is here, and the winners are going to be those who acknowledge that and respond accordingly in their strategy, their operations, and their people.
It's a great sign off. Thank you, sir. And thank you so much for your contribution, as always, to the Retail Bulletin panel today. Dee, some closing words, thoughts, advice for our audience today.
Yeah, we do see in the last months that a lot of brands are bringing products to the market. They're launching products, but they're not bringing those products to the retail, as I said before. And we need to be aware with the retail, we have two limitations. We have a space limitation, and we also have the footfall limitation. So we need to focus, as Callum said, on the convenience, and convenience is also a great service in store. Having enough people there to welcome your guest. Do not see the customers as a customer, but as a guest, that he's coming there to experience a product, and if he likes the product, then maybe he will buy it you. Otherwise, he will probably buy online, because online he will probably also get a better price and the best delivery. He do not just to take this big thing. So be aware of the experience inside of a store. I can recommend to any one of you guys that has a store, spend again one day at least in your sales floor. See how things are running there, how the people are dealing with your customers. I love to do this. I came from the sales area, from the sales floor, and I do from time to time spend time there. And you learn a lot about your customers, what they're looking for, what kind of service they're looking for, where can you improve in your store. So I know in the management, you have a lot of things to do. You do not have time to do everything you have to do, but try to spend at least one day on the sales floor and experience what the customers experience there from the point of view, also from your sales guys. So it's really very, very, very worthful. So you enjoy it, do this, you learn about a lot about our customers, and try to create the added value for the brands to bring again their product to the retail and not only launch products online and sell online.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I always am astonished at the number of HQ head office people who just don't go into their retail estate. And so there's this kind of siloed approach of that's the support team head office and that's our stores, and that joining up of the two, and you get your richest learnings. And
not only go there and stay there and see what they're doing, but try to work one day as a salesperson there, like be there try as a salesperson and see how your systems also work, your cash system, the system, everything. It has a big, how can I say, it just has a big impact on the day by day of your customers, on the day by day of your employees, on the system, on the convenience, as Callum said. So go there and spend the time as a sales employee and see how things works.
Great closing words. Thank you, Dee. Thank you so much, and all the best to you, and looking forward to having you on a future panel as well. Carolina, send us with some closing words, please.
Yeah, I would say, I think a little bit what the rest have said. I think using data and especially speak with your consumers to understand what exactly they need and how and their purchase behavior, because being omni-channel for a company can be very different of what means being omni-channel for other type of company in other industry. Like I said before, coming from the fashion industry, being omni-channel is completely different than being omni-channel in a food brand. So I would say, and everything we do, we based it on the consumer feedback. So listen to the consumer, read the data, and understand, and be at the end where the consumer wants to be, right? Then you need all the technology and all your sales force to serve your consumer, your customer. But you need to understand how they behave and where they purchase and how and where they want to find you, and then be there and choose the right channels. I would say that we based everything on the consumer. We do focus group. We talk directly with them. I go, I was laughing before because I go myself to the places as a consumer where we sell our product and feel the experience. And then we feedback the sales team to see these are all the improvements we need to make, because we're not giving maybe the perfect experience we want to give. So listen to the consumer and be where the consumer is, in the channels where they are buying your product, right?
Absolutely, and it's so key. And again, that message is coming out loud and clear to sort of be front end with the consumer and listen to what they're telling you. And it's it may seem like obvious advice, but I think it's easily forgotten in the day-to-day, melee of everything that we need to do in our day-to-day world. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining us from a warm Madrid. I'm very jealous, and we look forward to having you on a future panel. Harpreet, no pressure, you're closing this thing off. So we need some really good closing words from you.
Yes, of course. So I think as the team have already said, convenience is key. Living and breathing your product is so important, as well as listening to consumer feedback and insight. I think one of the things that I would add onto that is don't be afraid of taking a risk. So our industry shut down overnight due to the COVID pandemic. And we really had two options. One was just sit there and accept it, or actually quickly pivot and make some quick decisions around changing our business models. And we did that overnight. And that, was around understanding again what our consumers wanted, but also looking out into the future and thinking, what do they need that they don't need today? What our clients need that they don't realize? What was the soft muscles, as we call it? And that time sometimes means a leap of faith. And whilst they don't always work, let's be honest, sometimes 9 times out of 10 we've always been in product development. It doesn't mean that that one time when it is successful, it will really unlock some new doors. So I think it's about thinking about those calculated risks, especially for some of our small retailers that will suddenly open you up into some of those new exciting markets that you never thought were possible.
I think it's a really good point about, despite everything we've discussed, the resilience of the industry. And this industry was whacked out of nowhere a couple of years ago, and still it stands. And I was at a retail industry thing a couple of months back, and it was very, very clearly demonstrated that this is a very resilient industry, and everyone was still standing. So we might be slightly bruised and battered, but here we are still standing, and a very proud industry at the same time. Thank you, Harpreet. Brilliant closing words. That's it, everybody, for the Retail Bulletin today. Just a beautiful couple of morning sessions to set up your Tuesday. Don't forget, we do record these, so you can find the recordings on YouTube or LinkedIn very soon, probably next 24 hours. I'm sure I can speak for our panelists and say that if you wanted to get in touch with one of them, you can do so via the normal channels, LinkedIn and so on, or we can set you up with an introduction as well. So just get in touch with us here at the Retail Bulletin. All that remains me to say is thank you to Callum and Linnworks, as always, Dee, Carolina and Harpreet. Thank you so much for brilliant conversation and content. It's a wrap. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, everybody, and we'll see you at one of those live events soon. Check out the retailbulletin.com and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.